Hello everyone, welcome once again to another Power BI related tutorial by Team Slidescope. In this part, we are continuing with our second part of USA insurance data analysis. In first part, we did demographic overview. In this part, we will try to answer questions like what are the average charges by smoker, what is the total insurance cost by number of children that these patients have, BMI versus insurance charges, the correlation between them. So if someone is a smoker, you can see how steep this is, but for everyone you can see the slope is lower. So what is the meaning of this? Insurance charges by gender, for female whether it is more, for male whether it is more, average charge by region, you can see average charge by age group, and we will also try to answer different questions, and if needed I will also let you know that what is the meaning of this graph, and I will explain it, what is positive correlation, high variability, everything. And this particular part will explore how insurance charges vary by profile, and it will help us in finding out important variables that we can use in our machine learning models. So let's get started with this. So to get started with part 2, we will simply duplicate this, and in second part we have to answer questions related to insurance cost analysis, and this will be the dashboard 2. So we will simply copy this, and here we are going to rename it to insurance cost analysis. This way your pages will have a meaningful name, and if you need to add navigation, that will also help you. So this will be part 2, and actually this is part 2 of 3, and we are doing insurance cost analysis. So we will write cost analysis. So as you remember from the first part, and if you haven't seen, obviously please go and check out the first part. In first part we considered demographic overview and analyze data considering distribution by region, by gender, etc. Here we will focus on cost. So first question and focus is explore how insurance charge vary by profile. Now question in this part is what is the average insurance charge by region. So first of all, because charge is given, so this is average charge per person, which we created in the first part, where we selected average charge here, and we also added total charges. So these will be important for us. And now they are asking what is the average insurance charge by region. So here we found distribution. Now in this part we will try to find out region wise average charges. So for that we will keep location in name itself, and in region we will keep legend so that we can get the colors. And for color saturation we found number of records, we use the measure. Here we are going to use average charges. One thing that can be done, because it will be needed most of the times, so we can find something like average charge. So we can write average function, and in the column charges we can find this. Another thing is, because this charge is in US dollars, so you can go to table tool, and when your average charge value is calculated, or even you can select the parent column charges, you can select this, that display it as a currency. So wherever it will be displayed, it will be displayed as a currency. Now we can bring average charges in color saturation. So now it will show average charges by this. So in first part we went with the shape visual, so that's why it is showing it like that. We can also use a field map here. So in the field map, when you are going to use something in a field map, you can see in a field map you have to put a location here, like in the field map the field is location, then in the legend you will keep legend, and in tooltips actually you will add your data, and after adding it in tooltips you have to go to fill color setting, where you can find what color to choose for which particular region. So this can be another graph here. So or we can keep it like that. Here you can see for Mississippi or Southeast it is 14,000, for New Mexico 12,300, and so on. So for every region you will be able to see that charge value. And here, because this is heading, so obviously we can reposition it, and in general tab in title, instead of distribution we can say average charge by region. So this will give us some kind of information that what are the average charges per region. Next they are asking smokers versus non-smokers, compare in terms of average charges. So in the data set it is given that some people are smokers and some of them are not. So is average charge more for smokers or non-smokers? So one thing that we will uh, try to do here is we can use a simple bar chart or a stack column chart, and I will first of all remove everything, and here we will add smoker information. So on x-axis is smoker and on y-axis average charge. So now you can see in case of if a smoker if someone is a smoker, their average charges are very high. And to show these values we can click here on data labels, and we can actually make it bold at least, or increasing the size will not be possible, but we can change the color and make it bold so that these values are properly visible so that we can compare them. So this is question number 2, which is average charge by smoker. Next, third question is, does the number of children affect the total insurance cost? Like they are asking about total insurance cost and depending upon number of children. So for that, first we have to see how children column is given. So in the children column you can see it is given 0 1 2 3 4 5. So obviously it is a number, it is given as a whole number, but we can also consider it as a simple category. But to go there, first what we'll do is we'll use another bar chart, or let's say this time we'll use a clustered chart, and here we'll remove everything. In a clustered chart we have y-axis and x-axis. On y-axis we add something that is more categorical. So here we will add children, and on x-axis we will try to find the total charge. So we will create another measure here, and we can find total charge, and this is considering total charges paid by all the number of patients that are there. For this we can use a sum function. So we will use sum of insurance, and here we have to use charges. So this measure will help us in finding that, and you can add. So you can see actually the total charges paid by those who have 0 children are pretty high, And if we have to see these numbers, as I said, you have to enable the data labels. So this is distribution of, and this is not distribution. So this is total charges paid by number of children. So I'm just going to copy this. Now, number of children insurance cost. So this will be total insurance cost by number of children. And here one more thing can be done. Like obviously we have a line and clustered column chart. So this is also a clustered column chart. So we can also add average charge here. So obviously average charge will always be less than total charge. So we can go and consider x-axis where we can try to show the values in a different way. So we can enable the logarithmic scale to, because they are both from different units, and the difference is also very huge between them. One is average, one is total cost depending upon 1300 people. So that's why if you enable logarithmic scale, you can see the numbers, and that's why we can use a chart like this. Actually, sorry, a chart like this to see these values. And now we can actually disable the labels. So this will be total charge and average charge by number of children. One more thing is it is now on x-axis and it is considering at continuous value. So from 0 to 5. You can also consider it as a categorical value from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you will be able to see that if number of children are 0, let's zoom it. So you can see actually if you see the average of charges, so for that just momentarily I will enable this. So you can see average charges are actually more in 3 children case, average charges, and total charges are more in case of patients who have 0 children. So this is because number of such patients will be more. That's the simple reason. So that's how you can see both average charges and uh, total charges to analyze it in a better way, that how number of children are affecting the cost. Next question is, what is correlation between BMI and insurance charges? So here in the data set BMI is given. So BMI is given and its range starts from 15 to 53. You can see from very low to very high. So, and we already read about how BMI is, like what is good BMI, what is BMI in case of non-healthy people. So for that, first of all, we'll try to create a scatter plot. So whenever correlation is asked, first preference is a scatter plot, so that we can go and analyze data. Like on x-axis we will put something, and on y-axis we will put something or some numerical field, and see how they are correlated. So here the value that we are going to put on x-axis is BMI, and here Power BI will automatically give us sum of all the BMIs, but we have to say don't summarize this and show all values. And on y-axis it will ask us to bring whatever you want to analyze. So we will add charges without any measure. So here it is sum of charge, we'll say don't summarize. So let me see what the problem is. And problem will be because in previous part we actually change it to categorical. Now we have to change it back to continuous, because both these values should be continuous, x-axis and y-axis. Then only this will be possible. Now we'll say don't summarize. So here you can see it is giving x-axis is this and y-axis is this. So in different BMI ranges you can see that how charges are taken. So BMI 15 In some cases when BMI is very low, charges are also very low, but this is not entirely the case. Here we also have add further analysis where we have a trend line, and the slope of this trend line will actually help us in understanding that if BMI is increasing, are the charges also increasing, and if BMI are decreasing, are the charges also decreasing. So we will say yes, there is some correlation. First of all, we will change the title. So this is BMI versus charges, BMI versus insurance charges. So because some students asked us how to answer this question. So question was, what is the correlation between BMI and insurance charges? So if you see from the graph, this scatter plot visualizes the relationship between BMI on x-axis and insurance with a trend line included. And our conclusion is it has a positive correlation. The dotted trend line slope upward, suggesting mild positive correlation between BMI and insurance charges. That means as BMI increases, average charges tend to increase, though that trend is not very steep. So that's why I said with the help of slope of this line, you will be able to answer the question. There is high variability also. There is a wide spread of charges across most BMI levels. For example, individuals with BMI around 30 show charges ranging from 10,000 to 60,000. You can see here. So for every range, like you can see here, if you will see it is this, and here if you will see a very high charge. So that's how you will answer. Indicating other factors also is strongly influencing cost, and those other factors will be smoking, age, and region. So when we are doing these kind of multivariate analysis, so it's not only one factor that is just affecting your charge, and that's what is clear from here. Then clustered lower charges, most of the data point are clustered below 20,000 range, showing that majority of patients incur relatively low charges regardless of BMI. And some outliers are there which drive the trend. A few high cost outliers with high BMI are likely influencing the upward slope of trend line, and these might represent high risk patients like obese smokers or elderly patients with some conditions. Insights are, while higher BMI is associated with higher insurance charges, it's not a strong standalone predictor. Combining BMI with smoking status, age, and region would give more accurate insights into what drive insurance costs. Fifth question is, which age group or gender incur the highest average charges? So when they are asking which age group or gender incur the highest charges, so we have to answer them separately. Obviously, we will get rid of other charges. So for age group, you remember from the previous part we created these groups. So the Power BI gives options to create a new group here, and in new group you can actually decide how many in how many groups do you want to divide this age value. So we said that we want every age bin size of around 8. So first group will be 18 to 26, then 26 to 34, and so on. So here what we can do is, instead of region we can put age on x-axis, and we can use any stack column chart or a clustered bar chart for this, and we just have to show the average charges. So we can put average charges here. So you can see it is showing age group here and average charges on x-axis. So here you can see distribution wise that in age bin of 16 average charges are 8,800, and in age bin of 64 they are high. So you can see they are clearly, these charges are increasing linearly with respect to age. If you consider it categorical also, then also you will see the same trend. And for these type of charges, we can select a stat column chart. So this will be average charges by age group. We have basically categorized age as a we have categorized age into as a categorical value. So average charges by age group, and you can actually show these charges. So we can go to visual and enable data label. So you will be able to see those charges as well. And average charges by gender will be very easy to show. Like in previous part, we showed with the help of a donut chart. So we can use the donut chart, or we can use some other chart to show that value as well. Like suppose, just for variety, if we want to show it with the help of a multi-row card, so we select a multi-row card. In a multi-row card, you have to select the fields. So first we will select the gender field, and from here we will select gender field, then total charges. So these are total charges, and then average charges, because although it is not asked, but we can show. So you can see total charges and average charges by gender, and we can actually increase size of these values. We can change color of these values. So for color, let's use some color like this, make it bold. And these are category labels. So for category labels also, we are going to use a different color and make them bold. So this way you will be able to see. So for one we have the callout value, one we have the category labels, and then they are asking for cards, what will be the color. So let's say for cards we are going with this color, just to make it a colorful chart. And for, because these are headings, so we can enable it like this. And because it was a question, so we can answer gender wise charges. So we can simply write charges by gender. Usually there is no title, like usually title is disabled in these multi-row cards, but we can write. So insurance charges by gender. So now this is the final question which we have answered. So this is part 2, where we did cost analysis, and in cost analysis you can see we have considered all the fields and how cost is affecting them. One more thing is there, like we can actually select slicer settings and select a drop down list for age group. And then here you will find in insert, you will find button where you can see we have different arrows, bookmarks, etc. We have page navigator. So these buttons will be now available here. So what, you can see like how we have written them. So these buttons like DB1 demographic and DB2, currently because the second dashboard is selected, that's why it is giving answer like this, or it is giving a dark background. So later when we will add the third dashboard, it will appear here. I will also teach you in the next part that how we can add custom buttons. Like we can add a blank button and use it as a navigation. So, or if you want to use page navigator which is dynamic. So let's say if we want to go to page 1. So but once you will publish this report on report server or publish this report on Power BI online, then these buttons will just work like website, how it works in website. But here you hold control and then you click, so you will be able to navigate to different page. So what we can do now, because here also we have to do it. So I'm just reducing its size, and now we can copy. So you will see the difference that in this page button, now because we are on page 1, so this is selected, that's why it has a dark background. So we can select this. So this is how you can navigate between different pages. So in part 1 of 3, we when we analyze the data, so we analyzed demographic insights. Now this is part 2, and we are doing this. I will try to include a bonus part also as part 4, where I will add more complex DAX queries, like questions that will be or that can be answered with complex DAX query. So we'll add that. So because some beginners asked us, so that's why I kept it simpler this time. But later I'm going to make it a little bit more complex in terms of queries and solving. So solve this much, try to understand how different factors are affecting charges, and then we will solve more questions in the next part. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section. I will be happy to answer you. If you like this video, hit like and please subscribe to our channel, because we are now coming with more and more video tutorials for you guys.